Okay, cool. So basically, we focus this on what I call 5 critical questions. So what happens nowadays is that Sam is CEO of the company. She's running the business these days, and so I'm kind of the content person. So she comes to me and says, "Really want to put together a great webinar that's totally current and relevant to where salon owners are right now." And so I sat down. I thought, well, you know what? I know exactly what to do because as we kickstart our business, as you know, as we come out of this time, and you know what, I'm banning the word. Sam, you don't even know this yet. Jess, you don't even know this word. I came up with this yesterday when I was with Foresters. We had a session with Foresters in Reading yesterday. I'm banning the word hopefully. Um, can we get rid of that word now? It's not hopefully. You know, as we move out of this and we move forward, I really think we've got to make some critical shifts in our thinking and our strategy and the way we operate. I basically came up with these 5 critical questions for you to ask yourself. You see, I often believe that sometimes questions are even more valuable than the answers even. Now I'm going to give you answers, of course I am, but questions, you know, the right questions, if you ask the right questions, you get the right answers, or you stand a chance of getting the right answers. You know, it's a little bit like Google, isn't it? You know, this won't surprise some of you who've been around me for a while. Where you put your focus, where you get your results, something I've been saying for years. Well, think about that in terms of Google. You know? You basically ask Google a question, and depending on how good the question is will depend on how good the answer is. If you put the wrong thing into the search engine, you're going to get the wrong information back. So of course we need answers, but actually for me, I think we've really got to stop and think about the questions. And what questions should you be asking about your business as it says there, as we literally prepare to grow again and move forward. And I think this is so key. And the reason why I think it's key is because, and this isn't one of the 5 questions, we'll throw this in as an extra one. This is a 6th question. The big question I'm asking you is, are you getting ready to take advantage of what I'm calling the roaring 20s? And I want to be really clear here. This is not me just being positive and upbeat and so on. You know, we need that, but that's not what I'm doing. You know, anybody who knows me knows that I love learning. I'm constantly learning, and I'm constantly researching. And I've been doing that so much. And I've got my eye really closely on what's happening and what's happening out there. Now, I'm not going to say I'm an expert or that I'm right. It can still only be our opinions. And frankly, everybody's got they're all opinions. Nobody really knows what's happening, to be fair, if we're really honest about it. But I do have quite a clear understanding of where I think the future lies at the moment. My feeling is that the next 5-6 months, literally taking us up to the end of the year, will still be a settling period. You know, we're going to come out of this, out the other side in July, but we're still going to be hearing all these news things about how many cases there are and so on, and that does unsettle people. You know, it does unsettle people. You know, personally, I wish they'd stop doing that and start talking more about, you know, the figures that matter, hospital cases and deaths and so on. But you know, I can't control that. But it unsettles people, it unnerves people. At the same time, we're also hearing what, you know, people are worried about their jobs and so on, and recession and things like that. And I personally think there's a probably through to the end of this year of things settling. And you know what? You know, funny enough, I stopped at a service station yesterday. I was coming back from the session I did with Foresters. I stopped at the service station, and this guy was standing quite close to me in the queue. I was getting a coffee, and he was standing quite close to me. And it wasn't because of COVID. I wasn't sort of thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get COVID from him. I just kind of felt a bit uncomfortable, and I realized this is really weird. I haven't had someone standing that close to me, a stranger, for like 18 months, and it kind of felt a bit strange. And I think there's lots of reasons and ways why people are going to sort of start to just settle back to normality. It's not going to be June the 19th, bang, everything's back to normal. What's going to happen is there's going to be a period of time of people settling and getting back and whatever. Now, New Year is always I always say New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. It's just, it could be the 31st of March. It doesn't make any difference, but it kind of does. It's a big moment. And of course, we missed that this year, really. We didn't have that. And even if we did have it, it was still like, well, what are we looking forward to? Unsettled and so on. Christmas, in terms of in our businesses, it wasn't as a normal Christmas. In our homes, it wasn't a normal Christmas. And what I'm feeling is that we've got this period, this next sort of 5-6 months or so, as we start to settle back to normality. We're going to have a great Christmas. We're going to have a fantastic New Year. And I really believe that 22 is going to really kick in and kick off. I'm not saying that things aren't going to improve before that. I'm just saying that that's how I think it's going to go. And as we all know, that's just my belief and what I'm thinking. I'm not saying that's absolutely going to happen. No, just what I feel and what I think. What I do know, though, is that when it happens, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen big. So when I talk about, are you ready to take advantage of the roaring 20s, which I think we're going to be looking back on and saying that was the roaring 20s after COVID. By the way, if you don't know your history, the roaring 20s that we talk about, the 1920s, came after the First World War. And it's quite common after difficult times to have a roaring time and so on. And it's very common. And I'm expecting that. Now, if you're thinking, well, yeah, Alan, I hear what you're saying, but, there's going to be recession, there's going to be things like that and whatever. Okay, let me just hit you with a couple of interesting things. First of all, if we just forget COVID for a moment and just purely look at numbers, we've been in a recession, and so on. Well, so I'm not talking about from a COVID point of view. I'm talking from a business point of view. Now, there is a fact, an absolute historic fact. More businesses go bust and struggle following a recession than do during it. And that's fact. And there's a reason why. Because during a recession, or whatever we've been through, as I said, let's just call it recession for simplicity. During a recession, what we do is you get your head down and you get through it short term. Right, come on, pay the bills. Can I get through the week? Can I get through the month, etc., etc. And of course, that's very much how every one of us has been operating. We've had a short-term mindset. It's like, when are we opening? Are we opening? Have I got enough PPE? Where I'm sorting my staff out, getting the clients booked in, etc., etc., etc. And then even when we are open, what's happening? Are we going to close again? Is there going to be another lockdown? Everything's been short term. It's all short term. It's short term thinking, and that's not a criticism. We've all been doing it. You haven't got any choice, really. I can't believe that too many people in the middle of all of that, 2 weeks to reopening, that anybody was sitting there thinking about your plans for 2023. I think that would be ridiculous. We were all focused on short term. We've got to shift that focus. We've got to shift that focus now to mid to long term. We've got to start getting back to goal setting, strategy, setting your vision, knowing where you want to be in 22, 23, 24, 25, what's your future, and really leave this behind, and let's get on with it and start getting back to how you would have been thinking in your business 2 years ago. 2 years ago, before this was even on the horizon, we didn't even know it was there. 2 years ago, you would have been thinking about your business over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, where you want to be, what your goals are, what your objectives are, and so on. And kind of that all just went, and got scrapped. And then now what we're doing is, as I said, short-term thinking. We've got to get back to the right focus, and focusing in the right place. I always say that quote, if where you put your focus is where you get your results. If you accept that at base level, you have to accept the flip side of the coin. And the flip side of the coin is, quite simply, if where you put your focus is where you get your results, well, what happens if you focus on the wrong stuff? If you're focusing on the wrong stuff, you get the wrong results. We'll talk about that in a minute, in another context. But basically, for me, that's the key. We've got to be focusing on the right thing. If we're focusing short term, then what happens when I said that more businesses go bust after a recession, is that what happens is that when the boom comes, what I'm calling the roaring 20s, when that boom comes, the businesses that haven't been planning for it will get caught out. Your brand will have suffered. Your team won't be trained and motivated. your offering won't be at the right level, and so on. And so what will happen is in that crowd, people will be choosing other people because they will be shouting louder. They will have positioned themselves differently so that when people start spending money, they're spending money with those people. And if a salon or a restaurant or whatever it is hasn't positioned themselves in the right place to take advantage of that boom, then they are really going to struggle. So what am I basing this roaring 20s on other than just being positive? You may know this stat. It blows my mind. Yeah. The average amount of money in people's bank accounts, personal bank accounts, held in the banks, okay? So not in our individual bank accounts, but basically right across the board, yeah, before up to 2019, 2018, 2019, etc. It didn't say change much. They call it savings, but effectively it's what's in your account. What's, because it's not in your account, of course. Where is it? It's in the bank. It's in your account, but basically sitting in the bank. What money is sitting in banks? Personal, not business, personal. Yeah. And the average per month was 5 billion. Yeah. The average monthly amount sitting in bank accounts across the country was £5 billion. Don't know if you know this stat. Currently, it's 15 billion. It's 3 times the normal average. Now, actually, think about it. That doesn't surprise you. You know, yourself, clients, everybody say, I don't know what I spent all my money on, because now I'm not spending money. I seem to have loads of money. But seriously, that's huge. There is actually over 200 billion pounds in people's personal bank accounts across the UK currently. Now, in that next 6 months that I was talking about, no, that's not all going to be spent because people are worried about their jobs. They're worried about it, the 4th phase and the 5th phase and whatever. There's fear still and whatever. But as it settles back down, as things start to settle back down, and I'm saying I think it's probably going to be towards the end of the year, moving into 2022. But as things start to settle down, as people start to realize, jobs become a bit safer and everybody's a bit happier and it all seems that, okay, we're doing all right. It's all okay. We've come through this. As that all settles down, some of that money is going to be spent. It's going to start being spent. I mean, it's going to start being spent pretty quick, but I'm saying that quite a few people I imagine will be still going, okay, I've got this money. I'm not going to go mad just in case I lose my job, just in case. And they're going to be keeping hold of it a little bit. But it's going to settle down. There is money. We've never had a situation like this. Never has there been a situation where there's effectively been a recessionary climate, but people are sitting on shitloads of money to spend. I mean, seriously, never, ever happened like that. And all the experts I'm reading and listening to or whatever are saying, cautiously, because nobody wants to look an idiot for saying the wrong thing. I don't care if I'm wrong. Well, I'm wrong. But obviously these guys are always very worried about saying the wrong thing, but they're all being quite cautious. But what I'm seeing and reading is that actually we should come out of this much quicker and much healthier than perhaps we would have ever dreamed of when it all happened. And the reason, quite simply, is because of that, because the consumer has money to spend and will start to spend it and use it in different ways. That's why I'm confidently talking about the roaring 20s. But that now comes back to you and your business. And the question I'm asking there is, are you ready to take advantage of that? Because whenever that happens, whether I'm right or wrong, whether it's in August or whether it's in January or whether it's next summer or whatever, whenever it happens, whenever that money starts to flow, you better be ready. You better be ready. And I'll tell you why. Because The issue today is choice. It's about the crowd. It's all about the crowd and where people spend their money. So what we're saying is your client has got money to spend. Where are they going to spend it? Are they going to spend it with you? I don't even mean your competition in terms of other salons. I'm talking about your competition in terms of where people spend money. Your competition is going to be holidays. It's going to be shoes. It's going to be restaurants. It's going to be all sorts of things. And people are going to be thinking where they spend their money. If you then add in, they're actually going to be making choices about what salon they go to. You've got a lot of competition. And so the key, I think, right now, literally right now, as you've come through this short-term period of dealing with coming back, as we come out the other side now, I really think it's time for you to start focusing yourself, your energy, and your business on medium to long-term goals and making sure your business is set up, ready to take advantage of the Roaring Twenties. One final thing, and we're going to move on to the 5 questions. You know this, you've experienced, you've heard it said by so many people. If you've been on any of my webinars, you've heard it said by me. This industry, our industry, has never, ever been better placed. I don't think it, maybe in the 60s, when we were, Sassoon, it was linked to very quantum fashion and everything else. But we have never been better placed. We have never had greater value. And by the way, if anybody is out there and you're still struggling with pricing, and we were talking yesterday about still some hairdressers sort of sneaking toners through without charging them and things like that. And it's like, I've always understood why it happens, but now when there's never been a greater understanding of the value of what we offer, that's insane, absolutely insane. In Ireland, and in my experience, quite often the stats are pretty similar between Ireland and the UK, so I wouldn't expect it to be that different. When their version of the Prime Minister, the Taoiseach, announced the plans, for coming back and started saying, okay, we're going to start this like Boris did, step by step and all the rest and so on and whatever. The most Googled question was, when a hairdressing salon's opening. The most Googled question, when a hairdressing salon's open. It beat pubs. Golf courses was second, then pubs, then gyms. But when a hairdressing salon's open was the #1 question in Google. But on one hand, I'm blown away by that. That's insane. If you'd have told me that 2 years ago, that everything was going to shut down and the #1 Googled question would be, but when a hairdressing salon's opening, I would have thought, I love this business. I've been in it since for more years than I want to think about, but I still wouldn't have believed that. But kind of, I do believe it. I do understand it. This series has been a great opportunity, but be under no illusion. The world moves fast today with, social media, global media, news, everything else. The world moves so fast. There's a window for us to take advantage of this. And if we don't take advantage of that moment, in terms of all these things, then we're going to look back and go, oh, I missed that opportunity when really this industry had a great reputation, a great opportunity, and I didn't exploit it. I didn't really get hold of it. By the way, while we're at it, again, we were talking about this yesterday. Staffing. There's all been lots of staffing issues. People have lost staff and things like that. So obviously, you maybe didn't get an intake of youngsters last year, so you've got less trainees and things like that and whatever. And it was already becoming a bit difficult to get trainees and young people into this industry. By the way, you use a copywriter, someone who knows how to market properly. Don't say it like I'm going to say it. You need to say it much better than this. But effectively, I think there's a really powerful message to go out to say, look, when you're recruiting young people, if you take 10 young people that you're going to recruit, my numbers might be wrong, but I reckon about 3 of them have wanted to be a hairdresser since they were 7 years old. The other 7 didn't really know what to do, but kind of fell into it and then fell in love with this business. That was me. I'm sure that was some of you. We've got to target those 7. You know, the 3 that wanted to be a hairdresser, they're easy, but the other 7, we've really got to hit, and we've got to get to them, and we've got to say, hey, have you thought about this as a career? You know, and there's opportunities again. You know, I'm sure a lot of 18-year-olds are questioning whether to go to university this time, or if you're 17, you may be thinking next year, well, should I do that? I don't know. I think there's a question. There's people that don't know what to do, but we're not out there. We're not in the marketplace saying, hey, have you thought about being a hairdresser? Have you thought about working in the fashion industry as a hairdresser? Which is, by the way, how I always pitch it. Have you thought about working in the fashion industry in the hair and beauty as a hairdresser? But now you've got another message. And as I said, word it better than this, but have you thought of working in the industry, in the business that was missed more than anything in the lockdown? I mean, what a fantastic job to do. The thing that people missed more than anything else. Would you like to be part of that? That's a marketing message to get staff. So there's loads of opportunities, but trust me, seriously, I've been around a long time and I know what's happening. This moment will pass. And if you don't exploit it, if you don't take advantage of it, I guarantee in a year's time or 18 months time, 2 years time, you'll be looking back and thinking, I didn't grab that moment. Seriously, this is the moment. Are you ready to take advantage of the roaring 20s? So with that in mind, let's look at my 5 questions that we're going to look at here. These are the 5 questions. Question 1, I've alluded to this already. What makes you stand out from the crowd? Because there's a crowd. Yeah, there's a crowd. There's a crowd of salons. People have been saying to me, oh, you know, there's loads more mobile hairdressers. That's going to be a big issue and whatever. I said, well, it's only really an issue if you're not competing with mobile hairdressers. You're competing with people's kitchens. You know, I think a lot of people that have decided to go freelance, you know, over this lockdown, thought, oh, you know what, I did a few people's hair while it was locked down. I shouldn't have done, but I did, and I've made a bit of money. I'm going to do that instead of coming back down. I think the one thing they might be missing is that the client, who is a salon client, has tolerated having their hair done in their kitchen and bent over a bath to wash their color off because they've had no choice. When they've got a choice, I think they'll be going, no, I don't want to do that. I'm back in the salon. So I think it's that. But my point is this: it's still, you know, still competition. So what are you doing to stand out from that crowd? What are you doing to make sure that, you know, someone does leave their kitchen and come back into the salon? What are you doing to make sure that if someone's choosing a salon, they're choosing you and not the salon down the road? What are you doing to make sure that when they're spending their money, they're choosing to spend it on hair, and they're coming in for a color with you rather than buying a shop color and spending that money somewhere else? That's what we've got to really start thinking about. How do I stand out from the crowd? I can't just open my doors, go back. That's what we've done now. And that was cool. That was fine because you had this backlog of people who were desperate to get into your salon. But as we all know, that'll settle down. And as that settles down, then you've got to start thinking about, how do I make sure that I'm still on top of the game and that people are choosing me and choosing my salon to spend their money in? That's the first question. We're going to come back to it in a moment. The second question is, are you delivering your promise 100%? You know, whatever your promise is that's standing out for the crowd, you've got to deliver that promise, and you've got to deliver it 100%. And the big one, of course, is your business financially viable? You know, we can't anymore run on breaking even. We've got to start making sure that all that work, all that effort, all that stress, all that pressure, all that time is actually putting some money in your pocket. It's worthwhile. Are you turning followers into fans? Now, that's not just a marketing analogy. Obviously, it is followers into fans, but it's also about your whole customer experience. And we'll talk about that in a moment. And then finally, the big one. Are you doing all of that and everything else that you need to be doing? Are you doing that consistently? If you forced me, if you said, Alan, of all the things you understand about this industry, what would be the number one flaw, the number one thing that lets it down? And if I could only choose one, I would know straight away what it is. A lack of consistency. And by the way, in case you're sitting there going, yeah, I'm not talking about your team. I'm talking about us. Yeah, I'm talking about us, the leaders, the salon managers, the owners. It's our consistency. And it's understandable. We're juggling so many balls. But if we're not consistent, if we're not following things through, it doesn't work. Do you know how many times I've sat talking to a salon owner in their business, doing one-to-one and coaching, things like that. And let's say I talk about one-to-ones, and they go, oh yeah, you know what, you're right, because we were doing one-to-ones really regularly, and it worked, to be honest. Everybody was focused, they were positive and so. And I'm like, why the past tense? You just told me it was working, but it's past tense you're telling me about. Oh yeah, team meetings. Yeah, no, you're right. They do when we're running regular. Yeah, but I mean, we were doing it every month, and then it kind of some couple of things happen, and we sort of lost it, and we didn't have them in the diary, and sort of lost our way a little bit. And we need to get back to that. It's like that's the stuff that when you do it, you've got to do it consistently. Otherwise, it actually backfires on you. It doesn't work. And I think it's the number one issue. Now, I said it's understandable. And actually, that's why we always position ourselves, Fantastic Hairdresser, as helping you with that. That's what we're here for, is to help you with that. That's why we have our coaches. That's why we have all the online stuff, the books even. All of that is designed to help you be more consistent. So let's start to look at these questions in a little bit more detail. So what makes you stand out from the crowd? Now, that was the question. Not are you standing out from the crowd? What makes you stand out from the crowd? Well, it's your culture. It's your culture. It's what you stand for. When you look at companies, what makes Apple stand out from the crowd? It's their beliefs, it's their culture, it's what they stand for. When you look at any businesses that you like, you spend money with, and you look at those businesses, you think, I really like that business. I spend money with that business. I'm loyal to that business. It's because they offer you something that you relate to, that you go, yeah, I like these guys. I like these people. I love innocent smoothies. Yeah, innocent smoothies. I love innocent. I'm not talking about what's in the bottle. That's squashed fruit. That could be Sainsbury's own smoothies. I'm not talking about what's in the bottle. I'm talking about the company. I'm talking about the company and what they stand for. I love the silly things they put on the back of the bottles. I love the fact that they get people to knit woolly hats for the bottles to raise money for charity. I love the fact that they actually went to court to fight a trading standards thing, which actually someone complained. Can you believe this? Someone complained that they'd actually put on the label of their strawberry and banana smoothie in the ingredients. It said all the ingredients, and then the final line was "and 2 fat nuns." Right, and now I don't know about you, I kind of know that's a joke, and especially when it's innocence, and that's what they do. Now, but however, I can understand why someone might take offense to the word fat. I can understand why someone might take offense to it being nuns. I can't understand that someone complained about the fact that it would be impossible for there to be 2 fat nuns in that bottle. That's the truth. The complaint wasn't that it was fat nuns. It was that because it was in the ingredients, someone was saying, well, it can't be. And there was an official complaint made to trading standards, and trading standards upheld it. And you know what? I love a company that actually went and said, this is ridiculous, and fought it. I love that company. I love what they stand for. I love what they believe. I love the way they position themselves, how they market themselves. I love innocent smoothies. It's not what's in the bottle that I love. It's their culture. In other words, if I love you, your business, it's not the way you cut hair. Now, by the way, if the smoothie tastes horrible, well, then I don't love innocent smoothies. What you do, of course, has got to be of a high standard, but it's not that I'm going to fall in love with. It's who you are. It's what you stand for. You've got to know who you are. You've got to know what you stand for, what you believe in, because that's what your message becomes. And that's how people start to understand you and perceive you and so on. Now, there's a way that I often teach this, and it's actually a quick way to tell you a little bit about us, those of you that don't know us too well. And that is to show you how we do it. And if I can blow our own trumpet for a moment, you know, the first one of the first webinars we did when all this happened, we had 2,000 people sign up for it. We have a global brand. We're out there around the world, whatever. But actually, we're a small family company, a small family business. I always say we punch way above our weight. Things like Inspirational Minds, if you were involved in that, you saw that, people, amazing people in this industry who are happy to be partner with us and work with us and everything else. Why is that? What is that? It's because people respect our culture, what the Fantastic Hairdresser stands for. We have fans. People are fans of the Fantastic Hairdresser. But what are they fans of? Me, Sam, our heart? No, what they're fans of is what we stand for, what we believe in. And that's what you have to develop if you don't have it already, is literally, who are you? And it's that will stand you out from the crowd. So let me give you an idea of sort of some of the stuff you need to be thinking about by actually showing you the process we went through. So the first thing is you need one line, and this is very important. This is not a marketing line. This is not like a slogan. This is a piece of text that sums up who you are. And over the years, we've developed this. We've shaped it and molded it and trimmed it, and and all the rest. And then we finally got it down to. And by the way, the word "we" is important. As a team, we finally got it down to do the right thing. That's us. That's what we stand for. Do the right thing. Whether that's for our team, as employers, we want to do the right thing. For our customers, we want to do the right thing. For the industry, we want to do the right thing. And that guides us. What it becomes like a beacon, it guides you. It drives the direction you go in. The decisions you make about your business, whether it's your marketing or what you do, is driven by this, is to do the right thing. Now, do we get it right always? No, nobody can do that. But it's our guiding light. We're always trying to achieve it. It's what we do. We question it. If something comes up, we say, should we do this? And it's like, well, is that the right thing to do? Is that the right thing for the industry? Is that the right thing? In fact, Inspirational Minds was a classic environment of that. We didn't want to run Inspirational Minds in this environment. We didn't want to run it the way, without having an audience as we've done it in the past. We, frankly, in our own business, we were dealing with the same shite that you were dealing with, and everything. It was like, oh God, really, Inspirational Minds? No way. You can't even think about doing that. We'd have to do it online. We'd have to do this whole thing. Oh God, no, we've got too many things to think about. And then it's like, wait a minute. If the industry needs anything at the moment, it needs something like Inspirational Minds. And I'm being completely honest with you. We did that for that reason. The profit we made from it goes to charity. We didn't make any money from it. It was simply to actually make sure that we were doing something for our customers that needed something at that right time. And our decisions are guided by that. Do the right thing. And as I say, with our team, everything, we're always doing that. And I just said it. Do we get it right all the time? Of course we don't. But it's our guiding light. So that's ours. But the question is, what's yours? That's what you've got to do. And what you've now got to do, if you don't have it, and by the way, some of you that have worked with me for a few years, if you have it, but you haven't updated it, we're changing that all the time. We're always shifting it and shaping it like a piece of clay, and getting it as concise as that is. And for some of you that have worked with me over the years, you may go, oh yeah, I did that with Alan a few years ago. Maybe it's time to look at it again, because also maybe people have caught up with you, and what was your thing is now a norm, and it doesn't stand out from the crowd, and so on. So I want you to literally sit down with a cup of tea or a glass of wine or whatever is your thing, and just spend a bit of time and think to yourself, right, what is my business? Why does my business exist? What am I passionate about? And it could be, maybe it's hair. Maybe yours is amazing hair. Yeah, that's what we're all about. Now, of course, we all want to do great hair, but is that your thing? You know, like, I don't know, Trevor Solby or whatever. That's their thing. That's what they really stand for. One thing else. Or maybe say, no. Yeah, of course we do great hair. And we want to do great hair, but our thing is the amazing customer experience. That's what we're all about. Or maybe you're like, no, we're organic, or we're all about well-being, or it doesn't matter. It's you, it's yours. But what is it? What do you stand for? Who are you? Because until you answer that question, you can't position yourself and your team and your business and therefore your marketing and everything else. And what I'm seeing is so much marketing going on out there on social media that's kind of irrelevant, because it's not reflecting anything. It's not you're not going, oh, okay, that I really get the message from these guys, this salon. I want to go there. I like these people. I like this salon. I like these guys. So that's the first step. Now, once you've done that, you then need to back it up, and you need to back it up with your basically the pillars, if you like, of your business. And that's what I call them. But really, what they are your beliefs, your core beliefs. So what stands behind that? So if it's us, we say, okay, what we stand for is what we're all about, is to try and do the right thing as much as possible. So what are the beliefs, the pillars that are behind that? And the first one is integrity for us. Do the right thing, but for the right reason. Doing the right thing for the right reason. So that's ours. I'm not saying this is yours. I'm just saying what we do. Courage. I want my team to embrace thoughtful failure. But I love that phrase, by the way, thoughtful failure, not sloppy failure. It wasn't thought through, it wasn't planned properly, it wasn't budgeted right, and it failed. That's sloppy. But thoughtful failure, where you did everything right and it just didn't work. Well, that's creativity, that's innovation, that's what takes you forward. And we've always been about that. And that's what I want all my team to do. Right now, here's an understanding that I haven't talked about yet. I was waiting till this moment. This is not for your client. This is internal. This is for you and your team. So when you're writing this, I want you to think about, how would I be positioning this to a new team member? So if you wanted to come and work for the Fantastic Hairdresser, I would be very clearly make it very clear to you that what we're all about is we want to do the right thing for the industry, for our customers, and for ourselves and our team. And that's our guiding light. And the way that we do that is based around this: integrity. Yeah. And we're looking for people with integrity who want to do the right thing for the right reasons. We're looking for people who are courageous, who are prepared to put themselves out on the edge, to be creative, to be innovative, to embrace thoughtful failure, with calculated risk, not risk, calculated risk. And I always call it safe speed. You have to move fast in this day and age, but safely, in safe speed. I need people to be creative, to believe that anything is possible with enough time. I want people within the Fantastic Hairdresser who are compulsed, absolutely compulsed, obsessed by quality, absolutely driven to ensure that both the customers and our team love whatever we do. That's how we operate. Sam and I talk about this all the time. Is this the right thing? Is this the level of quality for our team and whatever? If you did Inspirational Minds, if you saw Inspirational Minds, we didn't do it like this. We didn't just do an Instagram live. We didn't do a Zoom. We actually filmed it, spent money on editing, green screen, and everything else. And people say, why are you doing that? Everybody understands it's lockdown. It's like, yeah, no, we know. But it's not how we do things at the Fantastic Hairdresser. That's not how we do stuff. We are obsessed by doing it right, by quality, by being absolutely driven to ensure that everybody loves what we do. And then finally, we absolutely totally committed to engagement, inclusion within our team, sharing with our team learning, growing, and opportunities for them. Those 5 beliefs underpin that 4-word statement, do the right thing. And what I've just shown you there is how we run our business and how we see our business. But actually what I'm showing you and what I'm asking you is, if you asked me, that's what I'd tell you. But if I asked you, what would you be telling me? And that's what you need. And you need to spend some time on this, and you need to get this right. Because once you've got this right, that becomes your culture, and it's your culture that will actually help you stand out from the crowd. Now, absolutely. Now, I've told you to do it yourself. Now, some of you that have worked with me over the years might think, oh, shouldn't this be a team thing, Alan? Absolutely. And it needs to have an absolute commitment from your team to that culture, from you and your team. However, in my experience, teamwork, democracy, whatever, in its purest sense, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. If you just sat down with your team and said, okay, what do we believe in? What's our, you'd be there for hours. And what I've found the best way to do it is to actually spend some time yourself, and start to think, okay, it is my business. It's your business. So what is my business? What do we stand for? What do we believe in? What are the things? And you get that tied down first. And then you involve the team. And I mean it, with integrity, not an act, not just, oh, we're going to put it in front of the team and pretend that they were involved. No. They are going to be involved. But what you're doing is you're giving some guidance by having spent some time in the first place thinking about how this is going to work. So do that. But then when you get it to the team and you start having a team meeting and discussing it with the team, make sure you're open-minded. Otherwise, they will quite rightly just go, well, what was the point? You did it all yourself. No. Yes, you need that first of all to give some direction, but then listen. I remember when we did this, when we had the salon in Chiswick, and we did this with the team in Chiswick, and we had, Sam and I and Fiona, we'd all sort of talked about this and got it sort of. And then when Sam actually sat down with the team and started to give some guidance, they took it to another level, a level that we hadn't thought of, and it was absolutely brilliant. And so we were talking about it, and then the team actually said, actually, no, we want Chiswick to fall in love with us. And then they added on to that, that we want them to Chiswick to fall in love with us, even if you're not a client. And I love that. And the whole guiding light between everything we did. Some of you heard me talk about things that we did, with the dog cafe outside and all those things. All those things were basically what we wanted is people to go, oh, I love those guys. Even if you weren't a client, if you walk past us saying, oh, I love those guys. Like I said, I love innocence. I can't remember the last time I actually drank one of their smoothies, but I love innocence. So I might not be a customer at the moment, but still love the brand. And so they were saying, even if you're not a client, we want you to walk past our salon and go, love those guys. And that was brilliant. And that became the culture of the salon. And that's what we based everything around that we did there. So, if we'd have just gone what with Sam, I, and Fiona had decided, it wouldn't have been as strong as that. But if we'd gone in absolutely open, I don't know where we would have ended up. So what I'm saying is you do some work first of all. This is what leadership is. Have it in your mind, have some sort of direction. Leading is direction, giving direction. So you have some sort of direction, but then what you do is you need to say, okay, having done that, now I'm going to really listen to my team, encourage them to be creative, innovative, and involved, and take it to another level. But it starts with you. But you must get commitment to that culture. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. It's not there. And then following that, you've got to make sure that everything you do lines up with it. It's called brand synergy. So, okay, this is our culture. This is our brand. Then everything we now do has got to line up with that. And it's got to make sense and so on. So, if you're saying, we're all about the customer experience, then you better bloody be doing it. It's got to line up with it. Everything you talk about has got to line up with the customer experience. If you're going to be organic, everything has to line up with that. You can't say we're into organic and then not be organic. So it's very much that. It's first of all, who are you? Explain that to you. Then you've got to get a commitment to that culture. And then finally, you've got to make sure that your branding and everything you do in your salon, how your salon looks and everything else, there's that brand synergy that runs all the way through it. So there you go. That's your first question. What makes you stand out from the crowd? Go away and answer that question for yourselves. I've given you some guidelines there to help you answer it. But for me, that is the first question every salon owner, every business owner has got to start asking at the moment. And by the way, even if you had nailed it a while ago, I'm guessing that this whole last 18 months has changed some perceptions for you, changed the way you're thinking about your business, changed lots of things and so on. So maybe it does really all need to be done again. So are you delivering your promise 100%? That was question 2. Question 2, are you delivering your promise 100%? So when you make that decision on your culture, it's a promise. I just made you a promise. I said that at the Fantastic Hairdresser, we promise to endeavor to always do the right thing. You know, that's what we're always endeavoring to do. Many years ago, I was offered a lot of money for the Fantastic Hairdresser brand to go onto a supermarket shelf and so on. And I'll be honest, it was a lot of money and we considered it. But the reason we turned it down was we can't do that. It doesn't fit with our culture. We've spent 30 years saying to the industry, about being professional, doing these things. And it's like, and what, the first time someone offers us money, we just run, turn tail and leave all our principles behind. We weren't going to do that. Kind of wish we had for the last 18 months. But joking aside, no, we didn't do that. And that's because that's who we are, and that's delivering our promise 100%. We can't go out and say we do the right thing for the industry. We believe in the industry. We support salon owners. We support salon professionals. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll go and put this in the cabinet. I'm not criticizing people who do, by the way. I'm not saying, because they don't say that. That's not their promise. Someone who goes and puts their product in the chemist, good luck to them. Our promise is we do the right thing for the industry, for salon owners and whatever. Therefore, no, we can't do that. You've got that promise. You've got to deliver it 100%. The golden rule of marketing: get the product right. And so therefore, the product has got, when I say product, by the way, I don't mean a physical product. The product is what you deliver. Your promise has got to live up to everything you say. It's got to be there. It's got to be 100%. And when I say 100%, you have to have 100% focus on that promise all the time, 100%. Sometimes when we had the salon for just under 7 years. And it was because we had the academy where it was, and it was like a good opportunity to do that. And people ask me what I learned from that, what we got from that, and that whole process. And we learned many, many, many things. But actually, the thing that I learned the most was the importance of 100% focus. Now, I've always talked about focus all the time. And bearing in mind, the people who worked with us, they were trained by the Fantastic Hairdresser. They had more training, Fantastic Hairdresser training than anybody. They were totally, it was running through their veins. Yeah, we would maybe have a big event running, a training event. And so we would all be focused on this event for maybe 6 weeks, getting ready for it. And it was happening and we'd do it. And then maybe for a few days or a week afterwards, we were all shattered. And it was like, oh, and then we'd sort of come back to normal. And all of a sudden you'd look around and go, oh, that client wasn't greeted at the door. That's one of our standards. Why didn't that happen? Or, what's happened to that plant? It looks like it's dying. Or what's... And it was like amazing that even with an incredibly trained team, totally passionate about the Fantastic Hairdresser, when we as leaders took our focus away for a period of time, not long, you just started to notice these little things. And it was like, oh my God. What I learned more than anything is that for us to deliver our promise of 100%, there has to be 100% focus from leadership right the way through. Do you know what I mean? If you as a leader are not obsessed with this, then it's natural, isn't it, that as it works its way down, each level down is going to have a little bit less of an obsession. So, if you're obsessed by this, your managers will be passionate about it. If your managers are passionate about it, your team will know how critical this is. And if your team know how critical it is, the assistants and trainees and so on will know this is important. Okay. Well, I've gone from obsessed to passionate to critical to important. So what if instead of you being obsessed, you're just passionate about it? Well, that means your managers know it's critical. Your team know it's important. Your trainees are like, well, whatever. But what if you are just thinking this is critical? Well, your managers know it's important. Your team are like, yeah. Each level, it will get weaker. So it starts with you. And if you are not obsessed, compulsed by your delivering your promise 100%, then you haven't got a hope of making sure that filters its way right the way through the team. And of course, the way you make sure that happens is with your standards, and 100%. You know, you can't have standards in your business that are only used at certain times, or some are enforced and others aren't. It's got to be 100%. And the only way that's going to happen is with training, 100% training. Many years ago, I sat in a seminar with a guy called Tom Peters. Some of you know Tom Peters, but Tom Peters is recognized as, I mean, he's pretty much retired now, obviously, but because he's, I don't know how old he is, but he must be in his 80s now. But basically, Tom Peters was basically the best-selling business author of all time. And was always so ahead of himself, and really understood the basics of how business operates. Wasn't anything to do with the hairdressing industry. It was corporate global business. And I sat in a seminar he was doing. There was about 600-700 people, a very high level. And he said, "I'm going to give you the secret of success. The secret of successful businesses. Yeah? I'm going to share it with you. It's really clear." And he said, "Get ready, get your pens ready. I'm going to give it to you." And everybody's like, "Okay, well, what's this going to be?" And they're all ready with the pens and paper and ready to write this down. And he said, "Right, you ready?" And he said, "Right." He just stood there in front of us all, and he went, "Train, train, 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 train. And when you're finished, retrain, retrain, retrain yourself and everybody in your team. There is no issue over whether we need to be training ourselves and our team and retraining ourselves over and over and over again." And then he said, "Yet you," and he just pointed to the audience, "behave as though there is an issue. You question, oh, can we afford that time? Can we afford that money? Should we be doing this? Should we say?" He said, "There is no issue over whether you need to be training yourself and your team over and over and over again. That," he said, "is the secret of successful companies. They put training at the absolute top of their agenda." And in our industry, I'm not talking about training your trainees. We all know that's important. I'm talking about educating everybody in your business, including yourself, constantly, consistently. People say to me, "Alan, how do you know so much stuff? You're standing, whether it's a day, 2-3 day seminar or whatever. I don't have any notes. I just talk, and people ask me questions. I'm like, how do you know so much stuff?" And it's like, what, am I some sort of genius? Of course not. I learn. I spend my entire life learning. I'm telling you that there's 200 billion quid's worth of money sitting in bank accounts at the moment. How do I know that? I know it because I spend time developing myself, learning and researching. That's how. I'm 61 years old now, and I still am learning as much as I ever have done. It drives me insane when people say, "Oh yeah, well, I've been there, I've done that. I did a course with you, Alan, about 10 years ago." Yeah. It's like, what? I wouldn't learn what I was teaching 10 years ago from myself, because it was right then, but it would be wrong today. It's got to be, you've got to put 100% education, training of yourself and your team right at the top of the list. That's the only way you're going to deliver on your promise. 100% focus, 100% standards, and 100% training and education. So the third question: is your business financially viable? This is too big to deal with in a 90-minute webinar. That's why we have programs like Business Masters, etc., and the stuff, and the online training we do, and the coaching and all those things. However, let's just understand something. 80% of the salon industry is breaking even or worse. That's got nothing to do with the last 15 months. This is no, absolutely nothing to do with that. It's been the case for many, many years. 80% of the salon industry is breaking even or worse. How can that be? How can 80% of the salon industry be breaking even or worse? And you know what's worse? Loads of salon owners don't even realize it. And this is why. Because when I say that, a lot of salons, oh, well, that's not us because we made a profit. Yeah. I paid tax on it. My accountant told me I made a profit and I paid tax on it. But you know what I love? When salon owners tell me, yeah, we made a profit last year and I made tax on it. I don't know where it is. And I say, I'll show you where it is. And I take their accounts and I flip forward 3 pages, and there it is, drawings. If you're a sole trader or partnership, your drawings, your salary does not show in the P&L account. And what that means is that your profit and loss account says this much money came in, this much money went out, therefore you made that much profit. And that's what you owe tax on. So your accountant says you made 35 grand profit or whatever. But you know what? 9 times out of 10, when I flip forward 2-3 pages and I find drawings in your accounts, if you made 35 grand profit, your drawings are 34,890 something. It's almost exactly the same number. And what we're doing there is we're actually running the business by the bank account. Yeah, you're running the business by the bank account. I call it the salon owner salary trap. The salon owner salary trap. And it's the reason why, although you might think you're profitable, in my book, you're not. If all you do is pick up the money, you're profitable. If that's it, if all you do is you go and pick up the money and go out on a Friday night and go, that's fine. But if you're working in the business, whether you're behind the chair or whether you're running it from the office, if you're working in the business, then your salary is a business expense. Now, by law, it's separated out. Now, one thing you may want to think about, if you don't do this already, is speak to your bookkeeper or accountant and ask for management accounts as well as tax accounts. So tax accounts is your end of year that has to be put together in a certain way legally, to HMRC. Your management accounts can look however you want them to look because they're just for you. They're for you to help actually run the business. And at that point in your management accounts, your salon owner's salary should be in the P&L because that's the only way you're going to start to see whether you're making profit. Now, if you're a limited company, it's slightly different because if you're a limited company as a director, your salary is in the P&L. However, your accountant is probably paying you with dividend. And so what they're doing is they're putting some of that money, some of your salary is in the P&L and it's the minimum amount. The majority of it is probably being done as dividend, which effectively is the same thing. What I'm saying is whether you're a limited company or whether you're a sole trader or partnership, either all or a big chunk of the salon owner's salary is not showing in the P&L. It's giving you a false understanding of your business. Once you put that salary into the P&L, 80% of the salon industry is breaking even or worse. Or worse? How can it be worse? That's going bust, Alan. Well, that's because quite often that salary is actually subsidizing the salon. In other words, if you were to pay yourself what you should be earning, and I don't mean silly, but if you pay yourself what you should be earning, and quite often, then you wouldn't be able to afford it. The money wouldn't be in the bank, in which case you're actually subsidizing the business. You're keeping it at break-even level. That's why when I see 35 grand profit, I see 34,900 quid drawings, because we're actually balancing that. There's one degree of flexibility if you can't pay, if you're having a tough month or a tough week, one area. You can't ring your landlord, can you, and say, listen, it's been a tough month. Can I pay you a little bit less this month? No, it's you. You make the adjustment. You go, God, I've got these bills, I've got VAT, I've got stock, I've got these and whatever. I'm just going to have to not take as much myself this month. You're actually managing the business in that way. And what that's doing is effectively subsidizing the business. If we put your salary in at the level it should be, in many cases, you'd actually be worse than breaking even. You'd actually be making a loss. I stand by that number. After over 40 years of spending my life looking at your businesses, 80% of the salon industry is breaking even or worse. And a big chunk of that is the salon owner salary trap. I think the first thing you have to understand is, I talked about it, it's a business, not a process. It's one of the biggest things that people don't understand. It's a business, not a process. So there's a process that every business goes through. Money comes in, it goes out. It comes in, it goes out. It's a process. So in our business, we do people's hair, they put money in the till. We take that money in the till, we pay wages, we pay stock, we pay landlords, we pay et cetera, and then we do it all again next week. Money comes in, money goes out, money comes in, money goes out. It's a process. It's like a circle going round and round and round and round and round. What that process should generate each time it goes around the cycle is profit. Yeah? So in other words, this much money come in, that much money went out, and this is what's left. That's my profit. Okay, that's your business. There's a process you go through, buying and selling, for want of a better word, that generates profit. The process versus the business. Your business is the profit it makes. The process is what you go through in order to make that profit. And this is why in creative businesses like ours, not just salons, by the way, but in creative businesses, you find so many creative businesses that are breaking even effectively or worse. And this is why. We love the process. We've got a great process. We love it. We're passionate about it. We love doing people's hair. And the question I always ask is, imagine if your business was manufacturing and distributing traffic cones. Imagine if that was your business, that you made and sold traffic cones. How long would you do that for if you weren't making profit? I don't think you do it long. Why? Because the process of manufacturing and selling traffic cones, yeah, maybe I'm wrong, I've never done it, maybe it's a lot of fun, but my guess is, it's not. So why would you carry on doing that if you weren't making profit? No, we carry on doing what we do without making profit sometimes because it's fab. We love it. It's a great job. And you know what? In the early days of your business, quite often, that's okay. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying growing the business and whatever. But every salon owner I've ever spoken to reaches a point where they go, it'd be nice to have some return. Be nice to have some money out of this business. I'm working hard. It's getting harder as we're more successful. We have more staff, which means more problems, more issues, etc. And I love it, but it'd be nice to make some money too. And I think that's the key. And remember, I started this whole thing with focus. If you're focusing on the process rather than the business, then it's always going to be tough. Where you put your focus is where you get your results. I know salon owners say, I sort of come back to this. Salon owners sometimes say to me, I know exactly how much I've got to put in the till to pay the bills. It's break even. Break even. I know exactly how much I've got to put in the till to pay the bills. So you're focusing on break even. So don't be surprised if that's what you get. Where you put your focus is where you get your results. And that's what's happening. Yeah? So the key, the answer, quite simply, focus on profit. Focus on the business. Our process, what we do with the fantastic hairdresser, we've always done it. It's what Business Masters and everything else is all based around. It's very simple. We have a 2-year strategy that we teach you. We help you create a 2-year strategy for your business. And this is how it works. I would ask you, let's say you're doing Business Masters or you're doing one of the online programs, whatever. I'd say to you, or even our coaches work like this. We say to you, how much profit do you want, not percentage, money, how much profit do you want from your business in year 2 of this strategy? Not year 1, in year 2. So let's say we're looking at 22, 23. Let's say we're saying between 2022 and 2023, how much profit do you want from your business in 2023? And you say, I want 50 grand, I want 100 grand, I want whatever. Yeah. You say, that's what I want. Yeah. That's how much I want. Right. Then what we do is we show you how to work out what you need to put in your till to generate that profit. We've got these calculators, we've got all these different things we teach you how to use, and so on. We show exactly what you've got to put in the till to make that. And I think probably you're all experienced enough to know it's not as easy as just adding it on, if only. And so on. So we show you how to work that out. And then now we've got a number. We say, right, for you to make that profit, you've got to put this much money into your till a week, which means you've got to be doing this many clients. You've got to have this average bill, etc. And all of a sudden, we've now got really solid goals. We've got focus. People say to me sometimes, oh, Alan, yeah, we did this marketing thing and we got this many new clients, and I go, oh, that's great. How many did you need? And they go, oh, I don't know. Like, well, it's irrelevant then. Oh, we've grown our average bill by £3, Alan. Yeah, what did you need to grow it to? I don't know. But it's still good, isn't it? It's like, well, yeah, of course it's good. You've grown it, but if it's not, it still may not be generating what you need. You need to know what you want to achieve. So it starts, how much profit do you want? How much have you got to put in the till? Therefore, how many clients do you need to be doing? What's your average bill need to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Once you've got that information, then we do this. And we go, right, then we back and say, okay, where are you now? And right now you're putting this much money in the till and you've got this many clients and this average bill, et cetera. And that's the gap. And so what we do is we spend year one putting a strategy together for you to actually get from A to B, to get from there to there, so that you are, I call it getting your ducks in line. So you're ready for year two. You've got the client count, you've got the average bill, you've got the extra staff you needed. You've maybe made the changes to the salon to put 2 more positions in or whatever was needed. You've done all of that in year one. So you're now ready in year two to go out and make that profit. You're ready to go. But you cannot do any of that if you're not focused on profit. That's the only way to break that chain. To change that is we've got to start focusing on profit and have a completely different strategy and operating differently. Okay, finally now, our last couple of moments. You're turning followers into fans. Well, you may have heard me talk about this before. The last thing you need is more clients. Sounds strange, but what I'm actually saying is we desperately need fans. We need people that are going to stay with you, not people that are going to fall through the hole in the bucket. If your process is based on getting new clients and losing them, getting new clients and all those new clients are doing is replacing the ones that were there that you've lost, then you're never going to grow. It's always going to be stable. So it's not more clients is our word for customers. We don't need more customers. Customers shop around. Customers will go down the road for discount. Fans will never leave you. We've got to start turning our clients into fans. Turn your clients into fans. Now, they're a client when they walk through the door, first time, new client, but it's what you then do with your customer experience and your skills and your standards and your culture and your beliefs that turns that client into a fan. I love innocent smoothies. I'm a fan. By the way, if anybody picked up the fact that I'm not drinking them anymore, it's because a couple of years ago I was diagnosed sort of diabetic, so it's not good for me to drink things like that. That's the only reason. But basically, even though I don't have the product anymore, I'm still a fan. I think that's awesome. I don't actually have the product. I can't have the product, but I'm a fan. So, turn your new client walks through the door with everything you do, hair, experience, everything you do, you turn them into a fan. Now, we all understand that customer experience. I don't think we're doing it with our marketing. I think this is a marketing issue as well. You could argue clients are followers, the people who just turn up to have a look at you. They follow you. They're there. People keep talking about how many followers they've got on Instagram or how many friends they've got on Facebook. It's irrelevant unless those people are actively fans of yours and they're actually helping your business grow and putting money in your till. Ultimately, that's what it's all about. Final question, the big one. Are you doing all of that and all the other things we need to do? Are you doing it all consistently? There's a secret to success. One secret, not secrets. This won't make a book. It's just one. The secret to success. Successful people simply do the stuff that unsuccessful people don't. Jean-Paul DeJoria, John Paul Mitchell, thank you very much for that one. I got that from him. Successful people simply do the stuff that unsuccessful people don't. I love that. It's because it's true. It's so true. And the biggest thing that successful people do that unsuccessful people don't is they take consistent action. They do things. They get on with it. And they actually take that action and they do it consistently. They keep at it. It's not enough to sit on a webinar like this or go on a course and say, yeah. And a month later, you're not doing it. Or you have to follow it through. And as I said earlier, that's one of the biggest issues in the industry. And it's what we've spent the last 30 years in the Fantastic Hairdresser, globally around the world, helping salons, salon professionals, whether they be team members or whether they be salon owners like yourselves, helping salon professionals to put into place the stuff we know we should be doing, but to have a structure that allows us to put it into place consistently all the time. Not, I always say you can't just be fantastic on Tuesdays. It's got to be consistent all the time. And that's the key. Is that hard? Yeah, it is. Of course it is. We all need help. We all do. We have it. We have people who train us. We have companies that we work with that help us. It would be pretty hypocritical, wouldn't it, if we didn't? Everybody needs that support. And so everything we've ever done at the Fantastic Hairdresser is to create tools that give you that support, whether they be our online team meetings, whether they be our coaches, whether they be things like that. But there's no question, the most successful tool over the last 25, 30 years that we've ever run has been Business Masters. And as I said, it's coming to an end. And this is if you want to be involved in this is the last chance. And that's not a sales pitch. That's not, we're not selling timeshare, telling you there's only 2 left or anything else. We've made a decision that the beginning of my retirement, as I move into semi-retirement, so to speak, the first thing that we need to change is this. And so we are running this, as its last chance. So let me explain how it works. Business Masters, quite simply, is 7 days of live education with me. It's spread over 3 workshops. Now, the first workshop is about developing that strategy for profit that I talked about. It's 3 days, 3 very intense days. But when you leave on that Tuesday evening, it's a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. When you leave on that Tuesday evening, you have everything you need and you know exactly what to do to go away and to build a strategy for the next 2 years to build that strategy for profit. It's normally about 3 months. About 3 months later, you're going to come back and we're going to do workshop 2. Now, you'll have done a lot of work in that 3-month period. And so you should be coming back to workshop 2 saying, okay, done this, got the strategy, we're in place and whatever. Now what? Right, well, now we've got to get the team behind it. It's no good just you having a strategy. We've got to have a commitment from the team. And that commitment from the team basically is what we're going to look at now, and really learning the art of successful leadership, of really understanding how you lead that team to have that engagement in what you do. I always talk about this. People say, oh, my team aren't passionate. And I say, why do you want them to be passionate? And they say, so they'll engage with what we're doing and commit to what we're doing. No, wrong way round. It doesn't work like that. You need your team to be engaged so they become passionate. So while you're waiting for them to become passionate so they'll engage, you're doing it wrong. What you've got to do is you've got to lead people in such a way that they are engaged and committed to what the company's all about and what you stand for, and then they become passionate. And then finally, workshop 3 is literally putting it all together. Now, sometimes people say, why is marketing at the end? I say, because remember what I said? The golden rule of marketing, get the product right. You've got to get that right first. So there's a lot of work we've got to do first. I'm not saying you wouldn't do any marketing, but we've got to get this right first. And then when all of this is right, you've got the plan, you've got your team behind it. Now it's time to build a powerful marketing strategy to get out there and tell the world, this is who we are. This is what we stand for. We deliver this promise 100%. Come and see us. And I will show you how to create that strategy over those 2 days. That's the 3 workshops of Business Masters. However, you also get 18 online refresh lessons. So basically, we all know what it's like. You go on a course with me and you're there, and especially when it's an intense 3 days. And sometimes sort of a couple of weeks later, you think, oh my God, it was amazing. There's bits I can't remember, or I'm looking at notes and going, what the hell did I write there? And what's that all about? And so on. So what we have is actually online lessons that help you to actually refresh your mind. So you do the live training and online. You need the fantastic calculators, 4 calculators that I created. And those calculators allow you to actually work on the profit target to find out exactly what you need to be doing. The salon drivers, as I would always call them, help to understand those. There's even one that helps you actually sit down with a stylist, and you can say to the stylist, how much do you want to earn? And they'll say, I want to earn 25 grand a year. You say, right. And you literally put it in, put a few details in, and it says, right, to earn 25 grand a year, you need to be doing this many clients a week at this average bill. So there's 4 calculators altogether. There's an average bill one as well. They're amazing. Our fantastic team meetings, that's 20 pre-prepared team meetings. You know, when I say we do the right thing, people were saying to us, Alan, I know team meetings, they're important, but I kind of run out of stuff to do and content. I never, you know, it's not easy. Okay, so we created this 20 pre-prepared team meetings. Each team meeting is about 45 minutes to an hour. There's 3 video clips in each meeting. That means there's 60 video clips of me actually sort of bringing content into your team. The short clips, there are maybe 3-4 minutes, some of them. And then there's actually over 70 team exercises that you can do with the team to make that happen. Those of you that have done over the years, Kerry, again, sorry, over the years have done the, oh my God, I forgot. Oh, the ambassador program. I forgot what it's called then for a minute. The ambassador program, things like that. You know, this is where we've taken the ambassador program to another level and taken it into this environment. The Fantastic Salon book. Well, that doesn't sound much. It's a book, but actually, it's a book that you can't get anymore. The reason why was because it was kind of too good. You know, we actually took it off the market because we found that people, you know, once someone said I've just been on a course, Alan, with I won't say who it was, obviously. I've just been on a course with someone else that does what you do, and these were my course notes. And you know what they were? They were pages from the Fantastic Salon book photocopied, and didn't even give credit to me on the Fantastic Hairdresser. And that was the final straw, to be honest. That one, and we went, you know what? We're taking this book off the market. The only way you can get the book now is an online version when you do one of our programs. I think it was on sale on eBay or whatever, about 900 quid at one point. And then finally, a bit vague this, but on online support network, basically the people that are doing Business Masters, what we do is we set up like a group chat and everybody's involved in it. If you don't want to be involved in it, you don't have to be, but it really does help to have that online support from the other people that are doing the program at the same time. There you go. That's it. So finally, the bit you'll be going, that sounds great, Alan, but you know, how's it work? Those are the dates. It kicks off in London on the 19th of September for 3 days, in Dublin on the 12th. Oh, there's a date missing. Oh, 12th to the 14th. And then it's on again in January in both London and Dublin, and May. And that's basically how it's going to roll and run. The cost, quite simply, if you want to play monthly, it's £250 a month for the year. Work that out, £250 a month. What's that? 60 quid a week, which is what, a half head of lights. If all of that can't generate that for your business, then we might as well all give up and go home. If you don't want to pay monthly and save yourself some money, we do have upfront discount of 20%. So we've had quite a few people that have said to us, actually, my grants that I've had, or my bounce back loan I've got sitting in the bank, I might as well use it for something like this and whatever. So if you're in that situation, you're in that lucky situation where you got some cash, you might want to save yourself some money and do it that way. So pay up front, you get 20% off. And we have been running, every time we launch program, we always launch with a 2-for-1 deal. And we've got a few left. I think, how many, Sam?
So we've got 2 left at the moment.
Right, we've got 2 2-for-1 offers left.
Sorry? I was going to say, you've probably seen an email that today's the last day, just because I've got people interested. So we're closing off for today. Obviously aware though, if anyone here is interested, that's not really fair on you, but so we'll extend it to Friday for you guys specifically if you did want to. We'll hold the 2-for-1 offer for you. But yeah, sorry. So
that's okay. So we will do that. We'll hold it off till Friday. However, there is only a couple left, so you may want to get in if you want to get that. That's up to you, of course. And basically, that's it. You I told you, just give me 5 minutes at the end, and I wasn't going to bombard you with the sales talk, but you now know what Business Masters is, you know how it works, you know when it is, you know how much it is. However, I'm sure some of you might want to talk through a little bit more or whatever. So Sam will in a moment tell you what to do if you want to know a little bit more information about it and so on. So from me, before I pass back to Sam, I hope you've enjoyed the 90 minutes that I've given you. I hope I've lived up to the promise I made you. You know, live up 100% to your promise. I made you a promise that over the 90 minutes, I would make sure there was something in there that was worthwhile for you, that you could take away and that would make a difference. And thank you for joining us. And those of you that are going to be watching this on the recording, you know, we've done this for you literally because the last one we did, the recording broke, so we did it again for you. So please watch it and watch it all the way through, and I hope you enjoy it. But that's it from me, folks. I'm just going to pass back to Sam, and she's going to just give you a couple of final things before we close down.
Just want to say thank you all for joining us today. As Alan said, I know we had to redo the recording, but it really helps when there's people there. So really appreciate that, and thank you for your time. If anyone is interested in Business Masters, if you could maybe just, I was trying to think of the easiest way. I've just put the link to the webpage on the chat, so you can actually have a look and see all the detail. But also, if you just drop me a private message on the chat, or just drop a message on the chat just saying if you're interested, just put yes please, and I can get in contact with you and just send you some more information. Or you can send me a private message on here and drop me your number or something, and I can give you a call. But happy just to talk it through if you've got any questions, or if you're a different type of business, different size business, blah blah blah, you know what I mean. But no, thank you all so much. It was lovely to see you all, and thank you again for your time, and hopefully we'll see you very soon.
Just come out of this chair, and yeah, as I say, echoing what Sam said, thank you so much. It does say when we realized we had to do it again, it is much easier when there's people I can look at. So thank you very much for all looking so beautiful as I look at you. So thank you guys, enjoy, and let's get ready for those roaring 20s. Seriously, there's an opportunity out there. We've got to grab it. We've got to grab it, because it'll pass us by if we don't. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.